Hey, what's up, everyone? It is time for our football report with Otis Kirk. And Otis, let's start things off with Tykees Crawford. He's going to be announcing where he's transferring on Monday. So, what can you tell us about him and where he might land?
Takis is someone we've been there and done that before with him.
Yeah.
It never gets old though because he's an outstanding player. He's 6'5", 335 pounds. Signed with Charlotte. Went over there and played he played 6 games. Started 3 of them. He only played 6 games. He played in all 6 of them. He started 3 of those games. He's from Carthage, Texas. People forget he committed to Arkansas. Well, I was joking about we've been there on April 14th last year. We talked about April the 14th, 2019, I'm sorry. 2 years ago, we talked about on this show, he committed that Sunday because he came in on an official visit that weekend. I remember I left the station, got down the track, down Dixon Street, and Jason called me and says, Tykees committed. So I turned around and went back to the station. So I remember that well. So I got memories of that. That's probably a story that didn't need to be told. But anyway. But and I also remember on October the 12th, shortly after they lost to Kentucky, Tykees decommitted, and so it's been a fun ride with him. He's outstanding player. He signed with Charlotte on April 15th, went over there and had a great season. My understanding is from talking to sources that Tykees wants to get back closer to home. Arkansas, Baylor, LSU, Florida State, Kansas State, you name it. Brad Davis offered him at Missouri. For anyone who is not aware of that, when he came out of high school, he had 19 Power 5 offers, 22 offers all told. Brad Davis at Missouri offered him, and so he's familiar with him. I think Arkansas is in good shape there. We'll find out tomorrow, but I think he wanted to come here, but he did commit to Baylor originally. That was his first commitment, was to Baylor. Then he switched to Arkansas. Then he decommitted, and a lot of people thought he was going to LSU, but he didn't. And there was a question about would Tykees make his grades. That was a big question for everybody. And the truth is, he went to Charlotte and made a 3.0 grade point. That doesn't get talked about very much.
Yeah.
But it's worth mentioning for a kid that a lot of people thought he's not going to qualify. He's not going to make his grades. If he gets in school, he won't make a 3.0. So, so he did well. And somebody's going to get a great football player tomorrow, Tara. I'll just say that. Somebody's going to get a great one. Not a good one, a great one. An offensive tackle. And he fits what Sam was talking about recently about maybe getting an offensive lineman that had maybe 3 years left or something.
Yeah.
Might be eventually be a third round, playing behind the first round draft. He wasn't playing behind the first round of Charlotte, but he fits exactly almost what Sam was talking about. Somebody that doesn't, they're not needing someone to come in and play 1 year with Ty Clary and Myron Cunningham, especially with Myron Cunningham coming back at that tackle spot. So they need somebody to be here for a while, and Tykees would do that. So somebody's going to get a great one tomorrow, and let's see if it's the Hogs. I think it will be, but we'll see.
Well, the Hogs are already getting 7 great guys back for another year on the Hill. Who's coming back, and how big is that for the Razorbacks?
Well, Sam Spitman said, we're going to find out how good of recruiters we are. He was talking about recruiting those seniors. Yeah. And, there was a couple of them that I wasn't for sure. Myron Cunningham and Xavier Kelly were 2 kids that I was kind of on the fence about what would they do. Myron came back.
Yeah.
Xavier went to he declared for the NFL draft. Felipe Franks and Jonathan Marshall, I knew they were gone. There was no point in them coming back with seasons they had. But Grant Morgan, man, I tell you what, that was a great. Sam wasn't joking when he said we'll find out what kind of recruits. Getting Grant Morgan back, and then I've already mentioned Ty Clary and Myron Cunningham on the offensive line. Mm-hmm. Then you get Davion Warren back. You knew when he got hurt, he was probably coming back, and I think Sam said his parents announced it on senior day. I missed that on the video. Not very good being a reporter there. I should have caught that. But no, I figured he was coming back. Dorian Gerald, that was a kid that I never will forget early in this process back. When they were doing those COVID practices and we were getting first started Zooming, Dorian said he wasn't going, that wasn't something for him. But, then he got hurt in the first game again and he missed some time. And he feels like he hasn't accomplished what he came to Arkansas to accomplish. So he's coming back. That's big of Dorian to keep an open mind like that because he wasn't really someone who wanted to come back at first, but he was looking at the big picture, but he decided to do what, he hasn't accomplished what he wanted, so he's coming back, and that's huge. Blake Kern is a kid that came to Arkansas as a walk-on from Lamar High School down in by Russellville, between Russellville and Clarksville down there. And he is just he saved them at tight end this year. Hudson had some injuries. Some of the kids were younger. They were short on. They lost 5 tight ends from the previous year. So Cheyenne O'Grady and all those guys left. So I mean they were short-handed. And then of course T.J. Hammonds. He's got a. TJ joins me being the old man of the group. He's in his 6th year, so they're calling him the old man. I know how he feels because I get called that myself. So, I wish I was just as old as he. But now TJ is he's somebody that a lot of people kind of written off, Tara, and he came back and I tell you what, when he was in the game, he didn't give many opportunities, I guess, to work. But when he did, I felt like he made the most of them, and that's something I feel like maybe except against Coastal Carolina when Brett Bielema was still the coach, and TJ basically saved his job that day for a couple of games. I feel like there's been some times that maybe when he's gotten into the game, he hasn't always made the most of his opportunities. That's not being critical of TJ. It's just my opinion, just what I've seen. But I feel like this year, every single time that kid got into the game, he made the most of every opportunity he had. I remember he's got a lot of speed, and he's got a lot of talent. He was a great high school player, Joe T. Robinson over in Little Rock, and so he's not somebody to scoff at. He's somebody can really help his team. I mean, he comes back with Traylon Smith being running back. You've got 2 freshmen coming in. We talked about periodically on this show, AJ Green, Javion Hunt, but TJ and if nothing else, he can also catch the ball out of the backfield. Well, I've been really impressed with him this year. I mean, more consistent. I thought he was, I guess what I'm really trying to say on TJ, I felt like he was more consistent throughout the season this year when he got the opportunities than he has been in the past. He had that flash up in Colorado State. He caught that shuttle pass from Cole Kelly and went the distance against Colorado State. I was up in Fort Collins. And like I say, had the game against Coastal Carolina. But this year I felt like more consistent over a long period of time. I guess that's what is says it better than what I said a while ago. Well, they're still waiting. Well, I don't know if they're still waiting, but there's 3 scholarship players, seniors, that haven't announced what they're doing. That's Hayden Henry, Tyson Morris, and A.J. Reed. Kirby Adcock got engaged over at Razorback Stadium recently. He's getting married, so I wish him all the congratulations, all the good luck, and everything goes with it in the world. But I don't know. I mean, technically, they don't have to say if they're entering the transfer portal. They'll say if they're not playing, they don't have to say anything technically. So I don't know what they're going to do, but but they got 7 players back, and it was important for Sam to get those players back. You get a brand new recruiting class, 25 people, and you get 7 seniors back. You got 32 new, I mean, not 32 new players, but 32 players basically that you wouldn't have had it not been for the COVID rules. Those 7 coming back, you would have had 25, but you've got 7 guys. That's just like the NCAA saying you can get 7 transfers and they don't count against your 25 or 85. You're even better off this because these are not transfers. These are guys that Grant Morgan, there was these guys, Ty Clary, know the system, Myron Cunningham. So it's just unbelievable. And they're going to have, I know we're getting ready to go to the freshmen coming in, and they've got about, I know Sam talks about 10 coming in, but I've got 10 freshmen coming in, Tara. But I've also got 2 transfers coming in. And also, if Tykees, I think we mentioned earlier, if he's whoever he signs with, he can go in at midterm. So he would be another kid that would be here next weekend. They come in January the 10th. The newcomers do the signing class. They come in January the 10th. They take their COVID test. Hopefully that's back by January the 11th. Hopefully it's all negative. Enough COVID, but. And Sam hopes that they come in on January 10th. They're all negative. They get the results back on the 11th. It's good news. Then on the 12th, they can start lifting because the off season will start for the returning players on January the 11th. So we're talking about 1 week from today, if my math's right, if these freshmen will report. And so I saw Deborah Coley is sad about Lucas. I feel for her because she's really having a hard time with it, but it'll be okay. But Lucas Coley's coming in, the quarterback, Javion Hunt, who I just talked about from Oklahoma City, running back will be here. Got some receivers. Keitron Jackson, another kid we've talked about. I think there for a while we talked about him every week on here. Jaden Wilson's coming in. He's another receiver. Rocket Sanders from Florida. Raheem Sanders, Rocket, whatever you want. How you want to say it. Jaden Johnson and Jermaine Hamilton Jordan. Jaden Johnson is a safety from Georgia. Jermaine Hamilton Jordan is a safety from Kansas City. They're both coming in. Marco Avant and Chris Paul. Marco's from Jonesboro. Chris Paul's from Georgia. They're linebackers. They will be here. And so and then Cameron Little's a kicker. So those are the 10 high school players coming in. And I've got Jalen Williams, defensive tackle from junior college from Jones College coming in. And then Trent Gordon is the transfer from Penn State, the cornerback. And then, like I said, if Ty Keese were to transfer to Arkansas, he would be here next week too.
That'd be big.
So when you put in those 12, well, and then I want to mention also Darrell Wilson's transfer that's going to walk on a grad transfer from Marion University, and then Preston Crawford's a running back from Bentonville. When that's 14 new players. When you go put those with the 7 players that coming back to seniors, Tara, you've got 21 players going through spring ball that might not have a few years ago, because used to, as Sam said, there was 1 or 2 kids that come in at midterm, but you're getting this many at midterm. Plus those 7 seniors are coming back. So you're going to have a big spring ball. Hopefully they have spring ball. If they do, they got a chance to have a really good turnout out there. I mean, as far as numbers, more than you've had. There's been some springs were really thin, trying to play a spring game, and the numbers were very thin. But they should have a little bit better numbers this year. This is the most I've ever seen coming in midterm from high school and transfers. And if I'm off on some of those kids, I'm sorry, but those are the kids that all those have told me they're coming in, or either them or their coach have told me they're coming at midterm. So if I'm off on my numbers, I'm sorry, but I'm just going by what I've been told. But
well,
it's good turnout either way, even if it's just 10. And you get 7 seniors. That's 17 players, so that's a good turnout. And I think it's more like 14 or 15 counting the transfers and the couple here walk-ons.
Well, let's wrap things up talking about one last guy. We got to mention Brandon Connard. He's a running back in 2022 class. Just got an offer from the Razorbacks.
Murfreesboro Riverdale High School. I always want to say Rivercrest. It's Riverdale High School over in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. I've got a cheat sheet here to remind me it's Riverdale, not Rivercrest. He rushed for 981 yards and 14 touchdowns this year, caught 7 passes for 52, had a kickoff return for 8 yards. Arkansas offered him on December the 12th. He's got offers from Liberty, Missouri, Tennessee, Mississippi State, and the Hogs. Tennessee was the first school to offer him. He is open to Arkansas. He's open to a lot of schools. He's 5'10", 175. Maybe not the biggest running back you would want. He's more of an all-purpose back, kind of like a Traylon Smith, if for that matter, maybe like a Traylon Smith. But they went 10-3 this year, and he played a big role in that, Tara. So I mean, he's a good player. It's early. I don't know where he's going to end up. I mean, he's a Tennessee kid. Tennessee was first offer. Well, so we'll see how that ends up. But it's worth mentioning that he does like Arkansas a lot, and they're in the mix. And so we'll see how that turns out. But there's a lot of time between now and next year.
Yeah.
So I will mention more than once on this TV show. So hopefully, he makes a good decision for himself, whatever that is. But anyway, he's somebody that I wanted to mention today because I think he's a pretty good football player, and they went 10-3 this year. They got to play 13 games. Any team that gets to play 13 games in the COVID year, that's pretty good.
Well, we've seen Sam Pittman and his staff do a pretty good job with recruiting, so we'll see what happens with Brandon Connard. But that's going to do it for our football report with Otis Kirk. Thanks so much for your time. Always appreciate getting a chance to talk with you.
Okay. Thanks, Tara. Appreciate you.